international currency with various other assets like gold and that sort of thing in it. Where do you see blockchain as being the new international currency already? Or will it become that? And then how do you see them defending against these powerful institutions?
I think Eric's brave. We'll let him go first.
The only reason why I jump into this because I'm knee deep in it. So I'm dealing with, I look at China. Cambodia, they say, hey, we're against cryptocurrency. But what I'm realizing is they're not against it, they just want to be involved. And when you start to talk about the anarchists, you'll never hear me talk about we're disruptors. We're realigning the market, the world. Because disruptors are they're going against you, they're banging against those financial institutions. Why fight against financial institutions? Why not start? It's funny to hear Jamie Dimon Bitcoin, it's dying. Oh, we just released our JPM coin, by the way. They know where the world's going, and you're going to see them all getting involved. The largest companies of Google's and the Facebooks and everybody's trying to create their own blockchains. So that is coming. Now it's about how do you incorporate a network that involves them, that actually brings them into the system. Now, I won't get into technology, I can only speak for ourselves. We built a delegate proof of stake. So this is, I look at, it's more of a democratic type of network, very low power distributed. So we can take the fees down extremely low, and the validation and scalability very fast, but also delegates. You have, China owns one of our delegates. So here's a country that is actually involved in our blockchain. So we've got Cambodia, they're an owner in our network. They actually created a delegate on our system. So they get rewarded every 17 minutes, it produces a block. There's 50 NSGs that are rewarded on that block. So you're starting to find that countries or companies or institutions are saying, hey, why don't I go onto that blockchain and why don't I get integrated into being delegates either on the main chain or they create their own side chain. We've made it to where peg side chain, so it's never, the thing you're gonna hear a lot about and what Bitcoin and Ethereum, what we've been seeing is they get chain heavy. The more companies that come on, it gets super long. When the whole craze was going, where Bitcoin was at 17,000, 18,000, did you guys ever try to send a Bitcoin or an Ethereum? It was insane. I bought Ethereum, it took 9 days to come. I bought it, and 9 days later I got it. Because just wasn't ready for that scale, that kind of scale and validation. So we've made it to where you've got a chain, but everything is side chains. So every financial institution, every company is essentially their own main chain built off from our main chain. Or is a big side chain off our main chain. So it makes it to where it doesn't validate our whole chain, it only validates their side chain. So it can make the speed and validation very quick, but it makes it to where it doesn't get bogged down the bigger we get. It gets more foundation the bigger we get.
So given central banking's use of money supply to control the economy or its ups and downs, how does that factor into the money supply of a country?
Ooh. Now you're getting into a question to where, like we talked about, or I think you talked about, there's only a certain amount. So that's an issue. Like when you start talking about, hey, we only have this much money, and then you turn around, there's more money being printed in the back, that's an issue. And so cryptocurrency, in many ways for central banks, it's creating a transparency and an honesty that I will tell you is definitely ruffling some feathers. There's some...
Because transparency and honesty isn't what they're all about.
You said it. I didn't say it.
Again, off the record here.
Record.
So I've been in meetings in Washington DC and embassies that they are having frank discussions about the collapse of the world order. So the Bretton Woods Accords are going away. UN is probably useless. The World Bank is probably an antiquated institution. Federal Reserve needs to be scrapped. I mean, these are frank discussions with national leaders and ambassadors about what will a new world order look like. And these discussions have been happening the last 6, 7, 8 years. This isn't just the last couple of years. So part of those discussions are regional. So the Nordic countries, for example, have some planning commissions that are going on about how they can use digital identity and these technologies to sort of create like a regional exchange and regional financial systems that could survive past the collapse of something like this. And other central banks are starting to talk about issuing their currency in a digital form, but that allows them to do the exact same manipulations and exact same things, just as a different way of moving a dollar, right? So you're seeing sort of a pushback of, oh yes, we can play this game better than you. So it's a very complex, nuanced geopolitical question there, but there's a very strong sentiment that the existing financial structure has less than 10 years of life in a lot of embassies and inside a lot of meetings in foreign capitals right now.
And then this will be the new world order currency kind of.
No, I don't think anybody believes Bitcoin and blockchain are going to be the libertarian anarchist, dream of replacing the world order. I think the better way of framing it is, could you create a system of trades and exchanges and store of values that is decentralized and could survive a massive upheaval? And how do you leverage these technologies as a nation state or as an institution, as a hedging and security mechanism to protect your data and or to protect your transactional abilities? And what would happen if the stock exchange collapsed? As an example. Yeah, I say that's not really hypothetical. It's maybe a win, not a if. I'm really an optimist, aren't I?
One last question.
Michelle.
I actually just want to add to that. So I actually like money. Like, I like to be able to pull out cash and be like, here you go. Cash is still king, right? It's just that when we have these systems in place that are potentially collapsing, like it kind of goes back to the typical diversification model, and we just happen to be in an age where it's now becoming more digital. I also like, Venmo. Venmo's awesome. Here you go. Like, it's cash, but it's digital. So we don't necessarily have to have, cryptocurrency, right? We can still have the currency that we have, right? I mean, that's just my thoughts.
Thanks. So we only have a couple minutes left. If it's helpful, I thought maybe each panelist could just take 30 seconds to let us know where you think blockchain is going to be in 5 years from now.
Hundreds of companies making billions of dollars in profit globally are going to be developed in the next 5 years.
I would agree with that, and I think you're going to see significant parts of the economy that are essentially migrated into blockchain related systems, whether it's payments or tracking of securities or tracking of identity. I mean, there are some very, very smart people working at very well-funded companies on very, very big ideas. And so I would echo what Richard said, except maybe it's thousands and not hundreds.
Yeah, I think blockchain will touch all of our lives. We may not even realize it, because I think the more elegant blockchain solutions will the blockchain implementation will be underneath sort of the more life-touching part of it. Yeah, just a re-architecture. So I think that's, 5 years from now, it'll be everywhere, but we may not even recognize it. I mean, those of us in this room will get it, but others may not.
Well, if you think about the internet, I mean, if you ask anybody here, do you know how the internet works? No, we just know it works. I think 5 years, I mean, that's definitely going to be the case. I think the thing that excites me the most is when you break blockchain down, it's about open, it's about transparency, it's about trust. And I look at the world today, it's noisy. If we could just scrape the internet, learn what we learned, and start over, and actually start to talk to each other and communicate, collaborate, what an amazing world we'd live in. We talked about charities. I I think give it a couple more years. I think every public company will have to be on blockchain. Why are we sitting here doing quarterly filings when I can just go on your blockchain and see exactly what's going on? I think every charity is going to have to be on blockchain. I think that is a major issue as far as how much money did you collect and how much you send out and where did it go. So, you know, I look at blockchain, I truly believe it will be the new internet, the new network, the new mechanism that connects the world together. I love that underserved and underprivileged ecosystems and economies can now get in the game. The underbanked can now be a part of what's going on. I think you're going to find entrepreneurship go through the roof. I think you're going to find economies that were stifled and suppressed. I think you're going to find, you know, I'm looking at Africa and, you know, places that are just, I mean, how do they get in the game? And they're, you know, going into blockchain and cryptocurrency as a mechanism to say, hey, you know, let me actually be able to get on this global stage. So.